to Dragon Ball Super Dope. My name is Kyle. Thank you for checking this out. I'm joined today by my friend Josh from Dad's Anime Stache Adventure. Yeah. Digimon Focus Podcast now, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing terribly. But you know what? It is Dragon Ball Friday, so that automatically elevates things to a new level, and I automatically feel better despite the bad.
That is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a rough week for me because this was episode 10 of Frasier, so no more Frasier for another 40 weeks. But I'm gonna push on.
Keeping the Frasier runner running. I love it. We're gonna talk about. No Rayshawn today. Rayshawn is
taking a dump.
You know what I think he's doing, dude? I honestly think he's watching the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. Is what I think he's doing. I could be wrong.
Fight. Come on.
Yeah, WWE scripted drama to where Mike Tyson and him will either fight to a draw or Jake will win on like some kind of technical decision because it's a non-sanctioned fight. Mike is 58 years old. All that nonsense. But however, if Mike Tyson knocks the fuck out of that bitch, my soul needs that so badly. After last week, man, I can't watch Jake Paul knock out or defeat Mike Tyson. If he could give me the W tonight, I need the crypto scammer to get beaten by the rapist, for my soul. Hope they kill each other, man. Screw those guys. Yeah, man. Josh is way more PC than me, and I'm pretty PC. I kind of like Mike Tyson, though. I understand. Anyway, we're going to talk about episode 6 of Daima today. It's called Lightning. Now, not only are we going to talk about the episode today, there's a few other pieces that I want to touch on, some of which does contain to Dragon Ball Daima. Mainly, I wanted to talk to you about how your theater experience was, but later in the episode, we're going to talk a little bit about friend of the show, Danny Geekdom. Danny Geekdom said something on his Facebook feed the other day that definitely caught my attention and I thought was worthy of sharing. And I think kind of plays into the idea of like, I don't understand people who are still waiting for the dubs. Like, how aren't you watching this live in subs? Because this is exciting stuff and you're going to have things spoiled for you. But before we get to any of that, let's do episode 6 first. It is called Lightning. Today, I have the synopsis from Wikipedia, but I also have some thoughts in between. Josh, if you have thoughts on things, feel free to stop me. We'll talk more about them. Lightning. Pansy admits that the ship engine quit because her luggage exceeded the weight limits. Stop. How you going to call this bitch a genius and she can even do the basic math out on the weight of cargo on a ship? I feel like I'd be thinking about that, and I'm a dumbass. How do you feel? Pansy, smart, dumb, fraud?
I still think Pansy's smart. I've seen Bulma do some dumb things, so it's okay. But this does lend credence to Glory Hole saying he can't fit another person on the ship.
Yeah, I guess from a weight perspective. Yeah. I didn't take it as a weight perspective thing, but I like that you call him Glory Hole. That got me good. I don't know. I'm just a little bit worried about her prowess as a technical genius. Like, she fixes the plane, right?
The plane.
She gets the job done, but
you think Dr. Brief? You think Dr. Briefs would worry about weight on ships and shit? He's building android wives or whatever. Yeah. He doesn't sweat the small stuff.
He doesn't, man, because he's got his cigarettes and he's got a cat on his shoulder. They're going to love him regardless. And that's really all the validation that Dr. Briefs needs. Goku, as she repairs the engine, Goku ducks behind a bush to, what do you think the word is that they use on Wiki? Oh, you're looking at it on your computer. Yeah. It's defecate. Hilarious. That means
so Goku's fancy.
Goku's going to take a shit. Hey, this is going to sound stupid, but I kind of have a theory on the Goku having to take a shit in this episode thing. Because, like, it's the bookends. Like, he starts the episode having to take a shit. He back ends the episode having to take a shit. An episode or two ago, he's cutting farts in the plane. Like, this dude's got some gastrointestinal, is that what it's called? He's got some fucking issues going on in there. And I wonder why. Is it all that demon food, perhaps? But yeah, Goku's taking a shit. Bounty hunters.
I feel like you're diving a little too deep into this, but I like it.
No,
I'm on the right level. Like it, and I think that it would be something good to come up later, like he's in a fight with someone and he just goes down because he's got a stomach virus now.
He hits him with the diarrhea wave.
out of his asshole. No, that's actually not where my brain's going. But that would be hilarious. So he ducks behind a bush to take a shit. That's how I'd write it. Bounty hunters hired by Goma's men, military police, gendarmerie, I think is the word they continue to use. Again, a French term for military police that the English somehow adopted, but no English-speaking person knows. Bounty hunters hired by Goma's men, whom Goku beat up earlier, come looking for him, but the others convince them that he is not there, and they leave. Again, because he is taking a shit in a bush. The engine is repaired, and they take off after leaving some of the luggage behind. Shin explains that Degasu and Dr. Rinzu are his siblings who stayed in the demon realm due to ambition. So this is kind of an interesting spot, right? Like, I've said it a few times in these reviews, like, they don't do exposition super well. They do them in these awkward exchanges between characters and like down moments, which I don't know. I guess it kind of helps move the story forward, right? But they talk about how they're all related, all siblings, all born from the same Glind tree.
No, there were 4.
5. There's 5 Glind trees. But these 3, Rinzu, Shin, and whatever the fuck, Gemesu, that douchebag. They're all born from the same tree and thus siblings. And I thought it was just I personally thought it was pretty cool because I never really think about how the Kais are, like, what their origin is, but like they've talked about it in Dragon Ball Z. It's a thing. They don't harp on it or anything, but they do explain that they are literally grown from trees. And this kind of gives some more background lore to it and how it's supposed to work, and explains why people like these 3 characters that we're talking about are related, but like somebody like Kibito or the old Kai aren't related. I like the fact that we kind of get a little bit more background on it, due to the fact that it kind of does increase Shin's like stock or whatever, or like his I don't know, prowess to be able to handle the current situation that's ongoing. Like it kind of elevates him in a way. I do like that, but like I think the thing that people might freak out about, we'll see. I don't know, maybe I'm just like overreacting prematurely, but Shin does say like the Kais are genderless and like we're not really thought of as male or female, and then in the next sentence they go on to use female pronouns to refer to their sister as opposed to their brother, and his sister has got a sick fucking rack, dude.
I was about to say, I mean, not to be too on tour here, but I feel like Arasu has the biggest titties in all of Dragon Ball.
It's sick. I love it. This is my favorite series pretty much only because of that.
I can't think of anyone else who even comes close.
Marin,
Android 21's the only one I can think of.
Marin, not Krillin's daughter, Marin's ex-girlfriend. She had some pretty big honkers. You know what I'm saying?
I think she's pretty close. I'm still going to give it to Arasu, though.
Yeah, Arasu's the new waifu. And, you know, I said it to you during the pre-show on Patreon. If you want to support us on Patreon, go check it out. Patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. There's a link in the description. Help us continue to host our podcast and get free extra shit talking and things early. I said it to you during then. I think one of the most interesting things about doing these things week to week, because I forgot, man, we haven't done week to week episodes in a very long time. It's been well over 5 years now since we had an episode to talk about week to week on this podcast. So when we do these sit downs on the weekends, man, we're talking shit. We just reacted to a new thing that happened a few hours ago. And like your brain goes off in a certain direction and you start spinning theories and stuff like that. So when I texted Rayshawn this afternoon, Rayshawn RIP, sorry you couldn't be here today because you were too busy for us. He's like, I called the entire episode last week. I said the entire thing. And it was like, you know, Pansy fixing the ship and there was a fight or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, there was a fight in a Dragon Ball episode, Ray. Great fucking call. But in the Discord today, we had a supporter of the show, Dallas Hulkovich from Canada, mate. He was like, Kyle, you called it last week. Force lightning. And I was like, what? And
man, I do remember you saying Force Lightning.
I had to think about it and what he meant, but then I realized that the Goku versus Glorio fight, Glorio's magic, his majin magic, is very much Force Lightning.
Yeah.
So this is my
call it.
My point in mentioning up the second Star Wars reference that I want to bring up today, the third demon world. It never gets like dark there because there are two suns, like the fucking world of Tatooine in Star Wars. The third world of the demon realm is similar to Tatooine in Star Wars, which means there is a ton of storytelling potential there. And I think it's interesting that that's a choice that he made. It's so intentional. It can't not be intentional now. I'm convinced Akira Toriyama was smoking a significant amount of spice, the drug from Star Wars, on his way out the door knowing he was about to die. And he was just like, fuck it, man. Dragon Ball Star Wars is cool as hell. And he just continued to pour in the references.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I mean, I don't know what that thing you said was with the suns, but yeah.
Tatooine, where Luke Skywalker is from, and like they go back to in the movies and television shows, like literally a dozen times throughout all of the media. It always comes back to this desert ass world of Tatooine, this boring ass looking world. They have two suns on that world, so I just thought it was interesting. He chose to throw it on like the demon realm, the third demon realm, which is, you know, the lower class one in Tatooine, especially Mos Eisley and the Cantina is known as a wretched hive of scum and villainy, meaning like a bunch of demon douchebags. So I appreciate the parallels. There's no way it's not on purpose at this point, I feel.
I follow you. I believe you. I'm with you.
You've only seen the one Star Wars.
I've seen one Star Wars.
Darth Vader wasn't the guy for you.
I don't remember anything you're saying, but maybe it wasn't in that one.
Yeah,
it's the one where he chopped up all the kids.
Yeah, that's the third one, right? Revenge of the Sith, which is arguably one of the better Star Wars movies. It's definitely in the top 6 or 7 Star Wars movies. There's a lot of them. Back to this thing that we're talking about, Star Wars, man. I couldn't get sidetracked by that shit all day. As much as I don't like Star Wars fans, though, but I also don't like Dragon Ball fans. Either way, they decide that they need to take a break and sleep overnight, camp in a cave. There's no hotels around. They go and camp out, and Goku falls asleep after eating all of this demon food. Now, I mentioned the demon food. I think it's funny that they keep bringing back this joke. Like, there's almost no way it's not intentional now that they've done it 2 or 3 times. I think the first one is with the double cheeseburgers as he's beating the shit out of people in the bar. But in this one, they go and camp out in a cave, and Goku eats like a bajillion cans and a bunch of other stuff of these canned demon food. And Kaioshin picks up the can, and he's like, "Don't ask me what this meat is." Meanwhile, Goku's been taking mean shits this whole trip. We just left. Why is he taking so many mean shits? And I know that this is stupid, and I know that I'm overthinking it, and it's probably not going to be a thing. But imagine if it was Goku taking a shit, eating all these new meats or whatever, right? What if it's like changing his biological makeup a little bit? What if he, as an alien, is adapting to this new food that he's eating? What if it's changing his insides to the point where it's not like noticeable on the outside, but when he does have a big burst of power or something, maybe he does have some kind of crazy new kind of transformation. Maybe not a Super Saiyan 4, but maybe some kind of demon-ish looking thing that equates to, I've been in the demon world for a while. I've gotten used to the food and the diet, and now my body is different from it. And now I look like a big red hairy bear man. Also, what if he regrew his tail in between now and that happening because he's a small child and that just happens to them randomly? Dude, Toriyama, I really do think
on that.
Dude, I think Toriyama really was trying to not patch up holes, but like call out things to all these fucking fans to like make them canon, quote unquote. And then again, at the end of it, I'm still calling a massive memory wipe. But what's your theory?
I think Saiyans regrow their tails before puberty when they see the full moon.
So they see a full moon, they haven't entered puberty, they're a full Saiyan, and their tail comes back.
They can regrow their tail when they see the full moon until they hit puberty.
So it wouldn't be a transformation because they don't have a tail. Instead, it would be like the first half of the transformation. You get the tail back, and the next month, come back again to see the full moon, and you'll be a giant monkey boy.
I think it could happen all at once, but like every time a tail's regrown, it's been when there's a full moon, and it's been when they were younger. Goku and Dragon Ball during the tournament.
I was going to say, is it the same? That's a solid thoughts. Not that it matters, not that it's canon. Is that what happens when he regrows it in GT as well?
No,
they pull it out of him. Yeah, they
pliers.
literally ass pull his tail out of him. Yeah, that would be interesting to see if that would happen.
I don't know if the ass pull is going to happen.
Yeah, maybe not the ass pull. That's less interesting. But maybe he just spontaneously grows a tail back. That would be cool.
See, that would be something like if they're there for so long and then the demon moon comes out and it's all red and shit and he sees it and his tail grows and he turns into like a fucking red ape.
Man, the more I think about this, the haters a year ago when this shit got announced, they were like, it's GT 2.0. The more I think about it, they might be right, man.
Good.
Good for them. Back to this synopsis. When they make camp and sleep, Glorio secretly contacts Dr. Arinzu. Oh, I guess I called that last week. Is that Glorio and Arinzu are probably working together for some kind of evil scheme. A Minotaur.
And I'd forgotten that you see Glorio in the palace in that very first episode.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
He's probably hanging out and doing her bidding. Like, I'm going to make them talk a little bit because it's cool for them to see me. But if they see you, that's bad news. So hide behind this pillar, Glorio, or Glorio, or Glorio.
I don't know. I'm hoping that it's something interesting, but I have a feeling that Arisu just hired him to defeat Goma because Goma's not going to fund her research.
Yeah, I think it's actually going to be more than that. My brain's spun out into crazy theory mode today. I have a feeling
it's going to be something lame.
Yeah. She's like, oh, Goma's not going to give me the money, so I want to appoint a new Demon King. And actually, the new Demon King would be, when Goma dies, Glorio. That's probably going to be it.
Oh, I bet you're right.
Yeah.
Glorio's the illegitimate heir to the throne.
Or like, I'm not sure if the hierarchy works. What if he is actually the king of the second demon world or whatever, and when the first king of the demon world dies, he becomes the next one, of the first one? Maybe it works like that, like a hierarchy deal. I don't know.
I don't live there. I can't say.
Yeah, I'm not a citizen. They don't allow me to vote. With Dr. Arinzu, though, I guess I called that last week. That was another thing I was reminded of. Great for me. Also, Shin totally clocks it. He's faking sleeping and is aware that he just called it, maybe not Arinzu, but somebody, and that there's some kind of evil scheme going on.
There's a scheme. We don't know how evil it is.
I have an idea, maybe not what the scheme is, but where it's going to ultimately result to or end up in. When they make camp and sleep, Glorio secretly contacts Dr. Arinzu. A Minotaur attacks the group, intending to eat them. Love the Minotaur reuse. Goku and Glorio argue about who gets to fight it. And this is just the latest installment of Goku is straight disrespectful.
Yeah. I love it.
It's so funny, dude. He's like, hey, man, yeah, I got it. Gloria's like, man, I can probably handle this. Like, you underestimate me. He's like, yeah, I am like the strongest where I come from. So, like, the cockiness is just on full display. And it's just such a contrast to like super sweet, innocent kid Goku, which is what you'd obviously compare this version of the character to, right? It's like a confident, he knows everything, he's seen everything in terms of power and fighting. So to see him in a kid body again with that sort of attitude is just, the juxtaposition of it is fucking hilarious. But it's also a different take than what we see him be in stupid Dragon Ball Super, where he's just a dumbass. Imagine if the end of Dragon Ball Daima and the memory wipe makes Goku a fucking dumbass, and that's why he is the way he is in Dragon Ball Super. Then Akira Toriyama really would have taken care of everything on his way out the door.
Yeah. Now, though, when you were saying he's disrespectful, I was thinking more of to the Minotaur.
I
He was very rude to that Minotaur.
It's like, you're a cow.
You're just a cow.
You're a cow that eats meat?
And he's like, I'm not a cow. I'm on 2 legs. I'm talking, man. And he's like, you're a cow. Get out of here, cow.
Beat it, cow. I don't want to deal with you right now, but I will eat you. I do like that. I mean, it is basically a bit like when we talked about what this episode was supposed to be last week, like the couple of shots they showed us in the preview. I was like, I know Goku and Glorio are going to fight probably, and that there's some kind of big blue demon horned thing. Cool. Minotaur confirmed. And like, I got halfway through the episode and I'm like, all right, they're going to deal with this Minotaur, but I haven't seen Goku and Glorio fight yet. Like, how is this going to work in terms of timing? And then it hit me as it happened on the screen. I'm like, oh, they don't give a shit about this Minotaur. They're just going to want to fight each other to fight the Minotaur. Hilarious. It also kind of gives this fight some credence to that shit I said last week about Force Lightning and like the idea of, can he really turn Super Saiyan? We now know that he can, but he certainly was unsure of himself between the last episode and this episode. Let's see. A Minotaur attacks the group, intending to eat them. We just talked about that. Goku and Glorio argue about who gets to fight it and decide to fight, ignoring the Minotaur disrespectfully. Goku is capable of matching Goku's strength and use magic to unleash electrical attacks. Love that they use the adjective electrical, but also Goku, again, being disrespectful, is like, I'm going to put one arm behind my back. And that was the choreography for me this week, was watching him be so disrespectful with just the one arm, instead having to dodge his head because he only has one arm to block with. When he does the backflips, he's so committed to the one arm bit, he's only doing backflips with one arm. Like, the pettiness is just another level, and I absolutely love it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I don't think Glorio is matching Goku's strength. I think because everything he's doing is before Shin tells him to get serious. I think Goku could have literally killed him with one punch at any time. But
so maybe he was actually being respectful by not doing that.
I don't think he was being respectful. But yeah, we get to see him take control of being a Super Saiyan again, and you could tell he was unsure. Personally, I thought he was going to go 3, but it's fine. Super Saiyan 1. I forgot how adorable baby Goku going Super Saiyan is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favorite designs from GT is Super Saiyan 1 Goku. It's one of my favorite figures from that Super Battle Collection line, which is the line that I collect along with Dragon Stars in the modern day, but I don't think Dragon Stars has a Super Saiyan Kid Goku from GT, so that's really on them. And I don't appreciate their lack of attention to the masterpiece that is Dragon Ball GT, which is obviously not better than Dragon Ball Super, but I still love it. This fight was pretty entertaining. Again, the Force Lightning thing happens. We've got another instance of somebody using their majin magic in a battle, which is what we talked about last week. Like, what sort of different battle situations could that bring to Goku and the gang? Like, everybody's going to have different forms of magic. Glorio's appears to be some Emperor Palpatine shooting lightning from my fingertip shit. So that's pretty cool. I imagine the Star Wars references will continue, but ultimately Goku goes Super Saiyan. He looks down at his hand and he's like, I think I got this. And then he does got this. And the cool way that he counteracts the magic by just like putting his fingers up to it. I imagine he like expelled some kind of energy that we don't see or whatever to nullify it. But the smile, they do like a cool close up on his face where his hair transforms, and then it goes even closer to his mouth, and his mouth is flat. And then once he realizes he has that transformation and he can hold it, the fucking cocky smile comes up, and I'm like, he's back, bro. And then he gets behind Glorio. I don't think what he does there is an instant transmission or an instantaneous movement.
I don't think so either.
I think it's just a vanishing technique for all you Spark and Zero heads out there in the crowd. We're going to talk briefly about Spark and Zero at the end of this, but I think, interestingly, no ki blasts in this one as well. Like, he just straight up physically counters Glorio's magic, dodges it, puts it away with his hand or whatever. No Kamehameha still.
That's what I thought he was going to do to that lightning blast, because he made his hand glow, and I thought that's exactly what his plan was.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same idea. So now, I mean, I think maybe things were a little bit out of order. It does make me wonder why they even did that last week with the military police where they all grab each of his limbs and he turns Super Saiyan to bust out of it. It makes you wonder why they even did it. They could have just held that. He could have just done a general Ki energy pop, get them all off, and save the Super Saiyan for this week. I feel like that would have been a little bit more fun or appropriate.
Last week was the teaser.
Yeah. I kind of have a thought about that at the end of the episode with the B team and back on Kami's planet as well. But whatever. He's a Super Saiyan. He can maintain it. And we'll see him bust a Kamehameha in an instantaneous movement eventually, I feel. Hopefully. Anyway, Goku gets behind him. He ultimately surrenders. However, once Goku goes, framed by Goku's power, the Minotaurus leaves. Meanwhile, Bulma finishes repairing Shin's ship. Vegeta, Piccolo, and Kibito attempt to go to the demon realm. Finishes. But the ship powers down and crashes after only a few feet off the ground. So I seriously thought the end of the episode would have been the end of the fight, but we do get to check in with the B team. Vegeta's doing his big heavy weightlifting. Bulma's fixed the ship. Kibito and Piccolo and everyone's ready to roll. They don't know that the character that we met at the end of last week, Hybis, is on the way to pick them up to be able to bring them through Warp Sama. So they get in the ship. They immediately are brought back down. It doesn't work. And you have to assume Bulma didn't do something right, like it's alien technology from demon technology, whatever it is. So what I thought they were going to do before they crashed, not crashed, but brought their ship back down and landed it, I thought that they were going to leave and head toward Warp. And then Hybis was going to show up pretty soon thereafter and be like, hey, where the hell are these guys? Oh, they already left? Well, we need to get them a PIN number. They need to meet up with us. We need to go find them. And Hybis and Bulma and maybe not Popo, because he probably has to stay and look after the lookout. But Hybis and Bulma would follow. He's got to water the plants and figure out how to rewrap his turban with his little arms because they can't reach the top of his head. That's what I thought that they were going to do, and it would have made a lot of sense, but they just put the ship back down, and I assume Hybis will be there very shortly to be like, oh, your ship doesn't work? We'll hop in mine. Let's go. Or maybe they fix their ship. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. I think it's interesting that Piccolo comments on how cramped it is with only the three of them in there. Comparing it to the visuals. And again, these visuals don't mean anything in stone. Like, this is just me speculating. But a lot of the visuals in the beginning and opening of this show do feature a big cast together, like the cast of Goku, Ponzi, and Glorio, but also Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma are there in most of the shots, and Hybis is there throughout. I don't think we see any and Shin, my bad. And Kibito is not really seen in those shots, so I do wonder if ultimately he's not going to make the trip, and Hybis will bring Bulma and the gang and meet up with them to continue on. But
maybe
I enjoyed.
Maybe, in the picture you're talking about, Kibito's taking a shit.
He could be taking a shit, man. Although I don't think they consume.
Sorry, defecating.
Yeah, I don't think they defecate is the thing. I think they just drink water and they're cool.
Yeah, like Piccolo.
Yeah, like that Slugman Piccolo that we all know from the world below, yo. So that's episode 6. Any final thoughts before we move on to the brief preview for next week? Because it's not really a preview again. These previews suck.
A+, no notes. It was the funnest episode. Like, I just had a blast watching it.
Yeah, I agree. To see Goku be like so nonchalant and like show his expertise and his prowess. Also, there's a cool moment in there where like he explains to Ponzi like what Kais are in his universe, and he's like, well, there's a bunch of these god guys called Kamis, and then there's this guy, and he's the best god of them all. That's how I see it. And best buddy god. And I'm just like, this is so hilarious. I love Goku.
And she's like, do you make a lot of money with that?
It's not a lucrative business. Is there any way you could get me connected with your HR department? Yeah.
I do feel like every new bit of information we get about the Kais, the gods, just makes them less powerful and godly. It's like, so when we first meet them, they're these mysterious creatures, and now they're just tree demons.
Well, like they kind of do degrade their standing pretty quickly when Shin goes with them to a Babidi ship, and he like watches Vegeta, Goku, and Gohan like do rock paper scissors, and he's like, "Why you guys treating this so lightly? This is real serious shit. What's up?" He's like, "Nah. It's cool. We're Saiyans. We like to fight. Anyway, watch this." And he's like, "Jesus Christ, you guys are demons. Good thing you're good. Good thing you're on my side." Shin's hilarious, man.
Hey, you think Jesus was a good fighter? There is that movie called The Carpenter where he trains the guy to be an MMA fighter. But
come on, dude, that's a real movie?
Yeah.
That sounds hilarious. Is it funny?
I haven't seen it. It's still, it's supposed to be at a theatrical run, but it's not showing anywhere. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait and check that one out at home.
I would certainly watch a movie about Jesus beating the shit out of dudes in the octagon, like every single time if given the opportunity.
I don't think it's Jesus. I think it's dude he trains.
Jesus trains a dude. That's even cooler. Jesus being Mr. Miyagi. Oh, by the way, Cobra Kai dropped today.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet either, man. When I watch, I'm trying to watch it. Maybe probably won't have time this weekend. Maybe by next weekend I'll have time to watch it. But we should do one when we both watch it.
Yeah,
I love that shit. So that's episode 6. Episode 7 is called Collar. We did see the military police today show up and ask to see their collars as if they lived in Nazi Germany, but alas, it's just a Nazi demon world. I assume that's probably going to be a big portion of the episode is them continuing to be hunted by the military police, but that's pretty much all they show. There's only a couple shots. Goku's like rolling down a hill. It looks like there might be a ship skid, maybe not a crash, but a skid at some point. So we'll see, man. Did you go? Yeah, I know that you did, so I don't know why I phrased it like that. You went, and I went as well to see Dragon Ball Daima in theaters earlier this week for the premiere of the English dubs.
Yes.
I know.
We had differing experiences.
Yes, you had a very different experience. Do you want to go first? Let's give them the bad news first.
Yeah. So when I went, they showed, what's her name? The Japanese Goku?
Masako Nozawa-san.
Masako Nozawa-san. They showed her interview. My screen cut off the subtitles because it was too far up. Then it showed, hey, don't leave after the first episode. There's more coming. But there wasn't for me. Showed the first episode and then just stopped.
So I went to, I was going to go Sunday originally, but my scheduling just didn't work out. So I was going to let it slide, dude. I keep getting that Fathom Events thing in like my Facebook feed, right? It's like, go to see Dragon Ball Daima on theaters. And I like read through the comments the other day. I sent them to you because you had a bad experience. Other people had a similar experience to what you had. And I just thought it was interesting. Maybe you should hit up for a refund, right? But I'm looking through it, and like the common consensus amongst all these fucking dweebs is don't even bother. It's not any new episodes. We've already seen them. They're on Crunchyroll now. Just wait for them to be dubbed if you need to watch them dubbed. I was like, nah, dude, I know what it feels like. I remember what it feels like to go see a Dragon Ball movie in a theater, and I'm going. It's cool to see Dragon Ball on the big fucking screen. In like a communal kind of setting, which is what a movie theater is, but I never expect to like have very big crowds at those, right? So I went Tuesday after work, and it was maybe 12, 14 people in the theater, more than I expected for Fall River on a Tuesday night. And I was not the only weirdo there by themselves. There was at least one other guy there by themselves, so that made me more at ease. It was like 10 black dudes, 4 Mexican dudes, and an awkward white couple who sat in the row behind me. And I loved it. I had such a good fucking time, dude. I had a fucking communal experience, laughing about Dragon Ball with other people, just enjoying the thing, man. And that's just like surface level shit. I do want to say Nadolny as Goku. Having her back, man, how fucking sweet it is. I realize that maybe I've said some things about her on this show that like make me wonder who she is as a person sometimes. Is probably the nicest way I can say it. But goddamn it, she's so talented as a voice actress. She's so good as Goku. And it was so nice to hear her. She absolutely killed it. Honestly,
she also sang the second ending of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Did she? All right, cool. I didn't realize she did that localization. I don't think I know that song. Maybe I do.
I don't
realize.
Off the top of my head.
She's super talented, and I'm so happy she's back. It was the right decision to have her back. Trying to make anyone else fit in this role where it's like you can do a little kid Goku voiceover in Dragon Ball Z for like a passing like flashback kind of scene and have somebody imitate. But for Goku is carrying this fucking series as he has all of Dragon Ball, but you could make the argument that it's even more in this case. And to have anyone else do that English dub would have just been a huge mistake and not have worked out. Now, that all said, I did like wait around for the credits in between episodes. So this is what I imagine happened to you, right? You got to the end of the first episode that was like elongated. It's like a 35-minute episode. They roll the credits for all of the production staff for the Japanese episode. There is no English credits in that. And then they roll the next two. And at the end of the third one, they rolled both like overall credits and credits for the English localization. I have a ton of questions as to what that script localization process looks like now that it's no longer Funimation and it's Crunchyroll who's distributing it. Seriously, I don't know this. I'm just speculating based on how they read the credits, but I think it is Toei Animation now overseeing their own localizations for other languages and sending out these scripts to have them dubbed over. I could be wrong. I could be 100% mistaken. But the way that those credits look to me, it looks like Toei is handling the localization for different countries and then sending it out to different companies to actually produce it. And then Crunchyroll is distributing it. So for them to take that in, the in-house, for lack of a better term, localization that Funimation had going, where Chris Sabat would oversee the localization and like assign all the people and blah 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 blah. It looks like now that Funimation isn't an entity anymore. Toei is handling that themselves.
That changes a lot.
It could be wrong, but I thought the localization was great. And if this is how the new standard of Dragon Ball is going to be, like, not that Super was bad or anything like that. Even Dragon Ball Z Kai, they were all really good localizations. But this script localization was so good. I honestly, I'm not going to say I preferred to watch the dub over the sub. I'm not there yet. But because Stephanie Nadolny's back, it made it so enjoyable. I had no issue. Like, I think the nicest way for me to say it is I did not miss the subtitles and the Japanese voice actors when I had her and this version of the cast and the script shown to me. So I think that's probably the highest praise I could give.
Okay.
All right, cool.
I'll let her know.
I'm glad that you're happy for me and that you're going to let her know. I am thinking I kind of want to get her on the show, but more to follow. Couple of things real quick. Danny Geekdom, friend of the show. We talked about it before. He put up a Facebook status today, or not today, actually. This was 2 days ago, that I thought was fairly interesting, not surprising or anything, but he certainly knows somebody on the inside who has an overall look at the story. So this is the status that he shared, and it kind of made me excited, if I'm being real. It says, so I know some of you are waiting to binge Daima next spring when it ends, which is where I'm predicting that it'll end. Nobody actually knows that, but I think we're both kind of feeling it's probably going to be then, unless he actually knows, in which case this is probably like a 24 episode series. I know you're waiting to binge Daima next spring when it ends. I understand that. I do that with some shows too. However, please be aware, big things are coming in the last 5 to 7 episodes, and there will be spoilers everywhere. I suggest watching with us. Forms, fusions, fighters, stuff I have not leaked. Be careful. Forms, interesting. Fusions, that's 2. And then fighters, that could just be like any new characters that come into the melee to fight. Who knows? It could be different characters throughout the history of Dragon Ball, but we're getting some new forms and fusions. He actually followed it up in the comments section. What was that?
It could be Shorty and Scarface.
Shorty and Scarface? I don't understand what you mean.
Shorty and Scarface, the Saiyans?
Sorry, man. Are those the people
that Tien and Yamcha and Krillin fought at the lookout tower?
Oh, those made up ones?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Damn. Is that what they call them in the dub? Yes, Shorty and Scarface?
That's what they call them everywhere.
I haven't thought about anything that you just talked about. I haven't thought about that.
Listen, they could show up as Super Saiyans and fuse.
Yeah, I don't think that's it, but I think it's going to be that bug. I think it's going to be the bug fusion.
I'm against Sparking Zero because they're not in it.
I do have a thought about Sparking Zero after we finish this, but my most reading this, he also says, watch out, there will be fan art everywhere. So if it's either a form or a fusion, maybe there's some kind of demon version of a Super Saiyan 4. That would be really cool. What I'm thinking is there's going to be a fusion. Maybe it is a 3-way fusion, man, because that's what's on the sign on the jar when they first buy the bugs. In which case, what does that fusion look like? Goku, obviously. Vegeta, obviously, because he's on the way. And who else is he going to fuse with? And I think if they're fighting demon level dudes, you need a demon in the mix. So you get Shin as the third guy in a 3-way fusion. I hate calling it a 3-way. You get Shin as the third person in the fusion. And that could bring a whole new canon fusion to Dragon Ball that I think a lot of people have a lot of fun with. 2 Saiyans and a Kai.
Ooh.
Like could be purple skinned, white skinned, gray haired.
We've seen a Saiyan and a Kai before. I didn't care for it.
True. Yeah. That outfit wasn't very flattering to Gohan, like Gohan's much better suited for the purple or the orange, not that weird fucking front collared shit or whatever, that pullover nonsense. Yeah, so I just wanted to throw that out there. Could be a new form where we see Goku as some kind of next Super Saiyan form, but there's some kind of demon influence to it because he spent some time in the world, consumed their food or something. I know I'm kind of going crazy with that theory, but I do think it could be funny. Because why else do you make so many poop and fart jokes, Why do you fucking constantly draw attention to the fact that he's eating all of this food? Unless it's going to pay off eventually. And they're all like, you don't want to know what this food is, man. It's going to change your biology. So that's all I got for that. You just mentioned Sparking Zero on the way out. Okay, we're about to wrap this up, but have you bought Sparking Zero? Have you played it or no?
Yeah.
Cool. What do you play on? PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation 5.
Cool, man. I don't use online for my PlayStation. I'm actually I'm not against playing online with people, but I definitely, when I play video games, like to be by myself, if you know what I mean. I have no energy for social interaction, but I too have it on PS5. It's the reason I bought a PS5. And I'll say, man, I probably have less than 15, hell, man, maybe bordering on 10 hours into that game. Not to say it's not fun. I've had a blast playing it. I just have a really busy schedule right now. And I'm also very distracted by MLB The Show 24, which is weird. And I'm entering my baseball phase again. But the report the other day is that about 90% of the online player base for Sparking Zero that they had on day 1 or 2 or however they quantify it, they've fallen off. And it's not so busy these days. Do you play online? Are you able to find matches easily? You don't play online either?
I didn't even have PlayStation Plus anymore.
Yeah, that's my thing. I have no desire to play online because I know exactly what will happen in either of those games that I play. I will play with people. I'll play with people online, and I will become enraged, and I will either be real. This is my luck in these games, man. It's either I beat them and I get a message that says, "You're a cheap ass bitch, and I fucking hope you kill yourself," or I get my ass whipped, and they're like, "You fucking suck. I hope you kill yourself. You fucking suck." And I'm just like, this is not fun at all. I'm just trying to decompress and play some video games, man. So I don't even have PlayStation Plus, because I have no desire to go online with it. But I honestly wonder, hypothesize, whatever you want to say, with Fighters, man. I bought Fighters day 1 and I had a blast with it. What a fun game. I think it's one of the most visually engaging Dragon Ball games ever made. But it became so competitive so quickly online. To the point where, it's cool that Dragon Ball was elevated to a point where it's now a video game that's being used in competitive fighting tournaments and stuff. Cool. I love the representation. But if that's the online community that kind of keeps it afloat, and that's the things that you as a casual player, the 90% of us who are casual players, that's what you're consistently bumping into when you play online, I wouldn't want to play it anymore either, man.
You said it earlier, and it's not the nicest thing to say, but it's true. But yeah, we hate Dragon Ball fans. So
Dragon Ball fans suck, dude. And other Dragon Ball.
Yeah, we suck too. But yeah, Anyone that deep in the fandom sucks. I mean, you don't want to get mad over someone saying something wrong about Dragon Ball, but sometimes you do because they just keep being wrong.
So I know we didn't know each other back during the great Weeb Wars of 2018 and 2019. I was in the trenches out there fighting with the fucking dweebs who really liked one particular voice actor who had been taken away from the show, and thus it ruined their entire lives. And they proceeded to go on and ruin other people's lives in a lot of different ways online. My point is, around then, I started to realize, because up until that point in my life, when I would meet somebody who, especially in person, maybe not on the internet, but in person, if I met somebody who was into Dragon Ball, I would automatically click with them to some level and be like, oh, cool. You know, we have this mutual understanding on what this thing is and what we like about it and what's cool about it. And we can talk about it. And that's a cool, like, first step to like building a solid friendship in my brain. Right. And then I got perpetually more online, especially during the Weeb Wars. And I'd see all these dudes out there who love the same exact property that I do, love all the same characters that I do. And they would just take away the things that they loved about the property the most are things that I absolutely reviled and hated about the property. And I'm like, oh, you're that kind of Dragon Ball fan. Like the guy who takes away, you like the big muscly dudes who punch each other in the face and like sometimes a Pantera riff plays over it. Word. Where do you live again? Kentucky? That's why we call you Kentucky Dragon Ball fans. I haven't used that term in a minute. It's exhausting, but like I do feel like a piece of that sort of does leak into like the online gaming fandom because they feel some kind of maybe not ownership, but like some kind of comfort level in playing in a Dragon Ball game that they've been playing since they were little kids. This is the latest version of it. They've been playing Budokai games for 20 years, whatever it is. And they're like, get good, bitch, kill yourself, bitch. And like, it's just a self-perpetuating cycle of that. So like when some kid who's been getting those bullied messages of like, kill yourself, you're terrible at this game, when he eventually goes onto YouTube or Instagram and starts watching coaching videos on how to properly counter, because I see so much of that shit recommended to me, and I think it's ridiculous and remarkable that there is like a huge market out there for that shit in terms of content creation. They're going to go out there and they're going to learn all the shit, and they're going to put in hours into learning how to properly fucking after image behind somebody to be able to give them a back shot in the fucking head. And then the next time they beat on somebody, they're going to be like, yeah, get good, bitch, kill yourself. And the cycle fucking perpetuates. And meanwhile, all the casuals are like, bro, I'm just trying to go Super Saiyan and blast a Kamehameha while I drink a beer. I feel like I fall into that 90%, but I don't know.
Video games are split, dude, because there's, you know, it's the same analogy you're making with Dragon Ball Z. You know, you used to find a Dragon Ball Z fan and you would just click. When you were a kid, you would find a video game fan and you would just click because they weren't you know, when you were a kid, you played video games. Maybe 1 out of 10 other people played video games. Now everyone plays video games. When you were a kid, you watched Dragon Ball. 1 out of 10 people watched Dragon Ball. Now everybody watches Dragon Ball. Video games split because you got the people who are playing them for fun. You got the people who are playing them for a sense of achievement. And that is a big difference. For me, the get good crowd ruins video games.
And they're not playing for PlayStation achievements. They're playing for the achievement that is called validation in their own existence. And
they're
that's what makes
playing to get that serotonin in their brain that they only get when they beat the 40-year-old dad who's just trying to unwind a little bit at the end of the day.
Yeah, maybe we sound like the fucking 40-year-old dad crowd pretty hard right now, but honestly, I think it kind of lines up with what those numbers tell us about such a big drop off. But I don't know. I think they're going to be fine because as they continue to do DLC releases, which they can do, 10 of if they wanted to right now, they could release 10 different packs. It's not all developed, but like they have that many things to make characters out of. I'm sure people will come back just to check out the new thing and be like, and it'll give them an opportunity to get rehooked into the game, and maybe the community will stop being such douchebags. But
I mean, for my thing, I don't care, and honestly, I don't think the developers care because they're not making any more money from people playing online.
True, but like the more people play online, the more that it gives you reason to continue to release content, which gives you more opportunities for a point of sale. And like that's ultimately the goal, is to continue to have a reason to give them more things to buy. Like if this game didn't go well and it went over like a fucking lead balloon and they released a couple of DLC packs and nobody gives a shit and they close it up and, you know, not close it up, but like stop releasing new content for it in a few years, that means they got to go out and develop a new Dragon Ball game to be able to market, sell, and hopefully sell DLC for. If this thing works from the launch, then they could sell DLC for this for the next fucking 10 years if they wanted.
I'm with you to an extent. If it were any other property, well, maybe Naruto or something, I'd say it's fine. I think Dragon Ball is fine because they just announced a new DLC pack for Xenoverse 2.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that shit started in like 2016. Do you know what's in the DLC pack offhand or no?
No.
I'm kind of curious what they're releasing this late. Like they must have already done the Dragon Ball superhero stuff with the Gamma androids. Maybe it's a Daima pack, like with mini.
I think it is a Daima. No, they just announced a Daima pack for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. This is new fighters. Oh, I don't remember what it was. Yeah, this came out in 2017.
Yeah, so we're already 7-8 years into that. That game is never going to die.
No, it's not going anywhere as long as they can.
My buddy at work said the other day, was like, imagine if Daimon's like a big way to like introduce the concept of like the Xenoverse and all the time traveling missions and all that shit. And I'm like, I like where your brain's at, buddy, but no way. I hope not. That would be a little bit too much to chew. So that's pretty much all I've got for you guys this week. Josh, any final thoughts while we wrap it up here?
No, everything's perfect. Keep watching Dragon Ball.
Keep watching Dragon Ball. And if you enjoyed this conversation, if you just found us, welcome. Nice to have you. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places where the podcasts live. And we're trying to do these basically within a couple of days of the new episode dropping, and we'll continue to do that. If you haven't heard us before, go listen to some old shit, because old shit's all over the map. Some of it's really fun, some of it's really sad, some of it's really drunk, some of it's really hyper-focused, like an autism guy. So think about it, and make sure you check out Josh's podcast as well, Dad's Anime Stache Adventure, where you're now exclusively doing Digimon. Exclusively Digimon. Go check out the link in the show notes, and we will see you next week. I don't really know how these episodes ends anymore. I used to sing out everything. Now I don't know how and to end. See, can't even say the words right.
Like that clip where I said, go watch Dragon Ball and move it to the end.
Oh, I could like pitch shift it and shit.
Yeah.
Go watch Dragon Ball. I said right now. Ooh, but that's not the song I used to close it out anymore. Also, I don't know how I feel about my acoustic version of John Jocko John. All right, I'm getting a little existential. Make sure you listen to the show next week. Even every time I sing it, dude, I've been cutting them out of the public edits because they are so bad and they don't line up. But all right, that's cool. That's all. Okay. I gotta pee so bad. Wrap it up, Kyle. Rest in peace, Rachel.